Hello everyone, welcome back to the shop. My name is Kevin Cheney and this is my blacksmith shop, Red Maple Forge. Now, we're doing a little bit something different today. Normally Monday I do maintenance. I just couldn't think of something to do. Really don't have any pressing maintenance that has to be done. So today I'm forging. And what I'm doing is I did these guys on a feed a while back, and it is my belt hook things, you know, it clips on the belt here sort of thing. So I do medieval Renaissance festivals, and one thing I thought would be cool is that little metal belt hook. You know, you see it on some you know, movies and stuff like that, and I figured, you know what, why not have some fun and make some more of these. So in prep, because I want to make all of these the same, I am using 1/4 inch round stock, and they're cut to 8 inches long, actually 200 millimeters, but close enough to 8 inches. What you just saw me do there is I've taken one that I've already made, and I've marked out on the anvil. I probably should have done it somewhere else, but I marked out on the anvil where how long of a little bit on the back to slide over top of the belt. This little guy here, just so I can make them as consistent as possible. Now I already know the size that I use jig-wise for the little loop on all of them. So I got that set up on the vise over here. And I have 3 different styles. One that goes sticking out from the belt. One that goes beside the belt, and the 3rd style is one that goes beside the belt but has a far more closed in loop, almost like an eyelet. So we get those guys. I'm going to pull out one of each so I can use it as a guide, so I can be consistent as possible with these guys. Now, these guys I am going to probably only bring to the shows. I probably won't sell these online. So I allow myself to have a little bit more fluctuation between each one, just because people will be able to see them. And the jig I'm using is just a piece of steel pipe, round pipe, that is welded to a piece of angle iron so I can hold it in my vise. And then the second piece with it is a piece of angle iron, which I use for the space in between the hook and the back piece that goes over the belt. Basically, I'm using an 1/8 inch piece of angle iron, so like thickness wise, it's 1/8 inch. That is pretty well what I think is a pretty safe standard size for a belt. And as you can tell, I cleaned up a little bit. What do you think? Yep. Well, I should get some steel into the fire. So with these guys, I'm gonna do 5 of each style. So I'm thinking I'm just gonna go right in and put 5 pieces. And I'm gonna pick one style first, which will probably be the one that sticks out from the belt. I'll probably do that one first. So I'll put that nicely aside for now, so I can make them as consistent as possible. So I'll go right in with 5 in the in the forge right away. This is pretty lightweight steel. It's only a 1/4 inch. So I will be using my 2-pound crossbeam. And for tong wise, I'm going to be using my 3/8 V-bit tongs. Yeah, you hear, if you've been here quite a few times, you'll know that I use these tongs quite a bit. They came from Princess Auto. The manufacturer of them, they stamp on here and it says SMF Canada. I really need to look that up. Kevin, when you're watching this later, make a note to look up that company so you can give a little bit more information about them. Anyways, really good tongs. I like them. My scrolling tongs, which I also will be using today, come from them as well. Really happy with them. So if you don't know what Princess Auto is, it's basically our Canadian version of Harbor Freight. As for temperature on the forge today, I'm running about 5 psi. If you've been to the channel before, you know why. But if you're new, it's basically when I'm working with this thinner stock, especially with 5 pieces at the same time, I'm able to go through step by step on each one. And when I am done doing that step with the last one, I can go right to the first one without actually waiting for it to heat up. And that's one of the advantages of having propane forge. You can actually set the heat and not worry about burning your steel as much as, say, with a coal forge, which you have to do a little bit more paying attention to your heat. So if you didn't know, I'm on both YouTube and Twitch. I try to do this every weekday. I take weekends off. Every weekday at 1:30 Eastern Time. And I do have the chat windows open. So if you're on here live, you can ask questions and all that. I can actually read it from the anvil. So hopefully I'll answer your question. And I also will just take general comments. Now, if you're not catching this live, of course you can put a comment down below. I do read pretty well every comment I do get. And yeah. And you know, I respond back to most of them. Not everyone, but to most of them. Sorry, the music got a little loud in my ears. It's distracting. Anyways, so to start these off, I'm just going to put a curl at the end. So just think of it as any other hook, like J hook. So we're going to do a square taper. Go to the octagon, or 8 sides, making sure that we're bringing the octagon, that all the sides are the same. Once we're done that, we'll start plenishing it a little bit. And that is the taper. There we go. So again, square taper. If you notice, I lighten the blows as I get to the tip. That's just so I don't mangle the tip and like push it way out of the way, like way. A lot of people think blacksmithing is just wailing away, doing heavy blows with a heavy hammer, and really it's more of doing light blows with a heavy hammer. Even though today I'm using only a 2-pounder. today it might be a little bit less chatty day for me. I don't know. Don't know what to chat about while doing these. You know, if you want, I could talk about the weather, but it's okay. So now that we got all 5 nicely tapered, we're gonna go and do the curl on all of them. And I'm doing a relatively small curl. It doesn't need to be that big. It just gives a little bit of character on the very end. So just like that. Then I'm gonna go into the forge quite a bit because we will be doing the hook part of it next. Again, I'm not rushing any of this, just taking my time, making sure I get nice tapers, nice curls, kind of enjoying the moment of, you know, forging away stuff. Trying to keep an eye on which one is which. And yeah, I could probably go right to bending these, but kind of just want to take my time today. And it's my show, so we'll do it. So again, when I'm doing the curls, I'm not really banging down straight on the steel. I'm kind of doing more, you know, slight, you know, small little blows on the, just grazing it really. Going over to the vise, way back in there. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Now normally when I'm using these round dies, or dies for the, whatchamacallit, for hooks, I usually have 2 of them set up so that little curl can get caught on one of them while I'm going around. This time around, because I'm already having a piece in there for my to do that gap between the hook and like basically the belt, the back of the belt thingy. I don't know what to call it, thingy. I have it so that I'm actually going to be using my scrolling tongs to hold the steel in place while I do my curl. Not curl, my hook. And I'm just double checking with my original one to make sure they're looking pretty consistent. This one got a little wonky. Wonky is my word today. But basically, we're just making normal J hook, basically. So again, I'm quenching the tip where the curl is, just so I don't accidentally mangle it. And when I use a jig for a hook, I tend to go past where I need to and then come back to straighten out the hook. I find that gives, it wraps around better, the jig. I'm flipping them around so I can do the back of the belt piece next. So it's just a J hook, basically. Back down to the anvil. So the amount of steel I'm going to grab for the back end, or for the piece that's going to wrap around the belt, is pretty well lined up with the far side of my hardy hole. Now this is just on my particular anvil, so it's roughly about 3 inches, roughly. I'm gonna go first set down a shoulder, and then I'm just gonna flatten that out. Just so it's a little bit flatter. And the shoulder, I want to actually have it on the same side that the hook part is. That's just because that's how I've done the rest of them. So we'll just repeat that with the other 4. First setting that shoulder and then flattening the rest. When I actually set the shoulder and flatten, I want to make sure that the hook in this particular one is facing straight down. If it is a little bit off, I can straighten it after it cools. But the straighter I keep it now, the easier it will be later on. No point in doing extra steps if we don't need to. So again, I'm just starting through the shoulder, flatten the rest of it out. Now that all those are flattened out like that, I'm going to go back to my first one. And I'm going to start right where I set that shoulder. I'm going to start folding it over 90 degrees. Then I'm going to start bringing it back completely over. Then I'm going to go over to my piece of angle iron just to get a start on. Actually, I'm just going to flatten it right down. And then I'm just going to grab a screwdriver, flathead screwdriver, pull that up enough so I can, I'm going to straighten it a little bit though, so I can put it over my piece of angle iron and get that spacing correct. Now it did kink a little bit over, so I'm just going to grab a piece of my, I'm just going to grab another pair of tongs. This happens to be my flat bits. I'm just going to grab it and hopefully pull it over. I might be too cool at this point to do that, so I'll just throw that guy back in the forge for now, and we'll correct them in a bit. And this one I'm kinking the end just ever so slightly up because I actually want a little kink going upwards at the end. So I brought it tight together, just using a screwdriver to pry it apart ever so slightly. And then I will grab this and put it over my flat bar, or I should say my angle iron, so I can make that consistent. And we'll have to do some straightening on that guy, but that's okay. So this is the first guy I did. He's warm up enough that I'm just gonna go straighten him out just so we can get him done and over with. And we can just throw him on the ground. That guy looks, oh, he's a little too far open in the back. So we'll get him back up. Squish him down ever so slightly. That looks much better. That guy done. This one just needs a little straightening. And he's good. This is the last one of this style. That guy all done. So now we're going to move on to the next style, which is, which one is the next style? So we're going to do it so it actually, instead of going outwards like the ones that we just did, we'll go in line with the belt. So when it's hooked onto the belt, it actually will be in line with the body. So we'll load up 5 more into the forge. We'll get those guys going. So the difference between this one and the one that we just finished is just when we set and flatten down the piece that goes behind the belt, the angle that we want to have the hook facing when we start that shoulder and start flattening it down. But everything else is pretty well identical to the one that we just did. And these guys, when I'm done, we'll get the lovely wire wheel and wire wheel to clean them up, and then a beeswax finish. That's usually the finish that I go with. Helps prevent from rusting, and also just this being a kind of a belt hook, you're going to be touching it with your hands and all that. Your oils from your hands will also protect it from rust, or at least help protect it from rust. So we're going to start this off doing the square taper again. Then bringing it to octagon. And then rounding it off. We'll repeat that on all 5 of these pieces. we got the taper on all 5, we'll just do that little curl. And again, I'm not going straight down on the steel. I'm kind of grazing it, just lightly brushing it basically with the hammer. I am sticking it quite far into the forge on this next heat, just because we will be bending it around the jig to make the hook. Now, of course, if you don't have a jig, you could just do all that with the horn. So before we bend, I'm going to quench the tip where the curl is, just so I don't destroy the curl by accident while I'm bending it around the jig. Double checking it with my what we'll call control. If I have to make any adjustments, I will. But I think that will do. So my control one is just one I've made previous that I'm trying to match up as closely as possible. Again, because these guys I'm going to be selling in person and not really online, I allow myself a little bit more creative flexibility, I'll call it, when I'm forging these. So if they're not perfectly identical, I'll have a little bit more leeway with it on these guys than if it was something I was going to be selling online. And that is just my personal judgment, I guess, on the thing, because in person the people can actually see what they're buying. Where online, you kind of, I feel you should keep as close as possible to the original that you took pictures of and your measurements from, because that is what people are using to judge what they're actually getting. also taking a moment to make sure everything is straight as much as possible. It's actually really good practice to get into because it will save you time and aggravation, ultimately, when you get nearer to the finish. So right now I'm just making sure that I know which way to turn the hook when I flatten the shoulder so I can get consistent with what I currently have here. And that basically is the hook will be facing to the right when I forge the shoulder. And hopefully I will remember that and not mess up any. It has been known to happen. Not that necessarily on these guys, but because I already have a lot of heat still in here, I'm going to start going to the next stage where I'm actually bending this over. And then on the next heat, I'll reopen that up and have it finished. Come on. These guys are getting stubborn getting out of the forge. Come on. You want to be beautiful. So again, with the way I'm doing these, the hook is facing to the right, setting my shoulder, flattening out the rest. Flipping it over, bending away from the hook. Do a little kink at the end, then I'll start forging this over. I will straighten and spread this out as need be on my next heat. Again, hook to the right. Go. Come on. There we go. Now I'm going back to the first one. Just taking a flathead screwdriver, opening that up a little bit. I forgot to do the kink on this one at the end, so I'm just gonna jam my screwdriver in there for now, kink it up a little bit, and then we'll go over to my piece of angle iron in my vise, and we'll just straighten that up a little bit. The hook itself got a little bent, so that was a little disappointing. I think that one looks pretty good and done. So we'll get that guy on the floor. So because this one, I actually remembered to do the kink on the end, and just take it over to my piece of angle iron. Sorry, you probably can't even see it. Call that one done. Yep, we'll call that one done. The last one done of this style. So now for the last design, it's identical to the one I just did, but it is more of a closed loop, almost like an eyelet. So we'll get those 5 in and start getting those done. Now this is actually the first year I'm making these, so I have no idea how well they're going to do at the show. Hence why I'm not making a huge amount of stock. I think I'm going to have 7 of each style for the first show. And then I'm going to see how they do at the first show and stock up or just not even bother for the following shows. So my first show is actually in a couple weeks. So if you see a little bit more restocking the next couple of videos, it's because I'm getting ready for the show. So on top of the Renaissance medieval fairs that I do, I also do, you know, your small farmers like market kind of things, but I don't do a lot of them. Just the ones really local to me. But I also do shows that are a little bit more witch themed. So, yeah. But the next 2 shows are actually going to be, the next 2 shows are more of a medieval Renaissance kind of theme. So you'll be seeing a little bit more stuff like that if I need to stock up. I know there are some things I need to stock up for them, but overall I think I'm doing okay. As I have not checked my inventory of my show items, so I do carry stuff that is both sold online and in shows, but also I have stuff that is only online, and I have stuff that's only on the shows. And sometimes the reason why it's a show only item and not actually sold online is because the sheer pain it is to ship it. It just doesn't make sense. So I take them to the shows. So we're just doing a square taper on these guys, and then we're going to bring it to octagon. And then we're going to round that off. And rinse and repeat. Just realized I haven't checked the chat for a while. Been so focused on just getting these done that I completely forgot about it. Now we're just going to go in, do a quick curl at the end. Nothing too fancy. We're going to put that a little deeper into the forge for to make the hook. This one I will be doing a little bit more bending than the last one because it will be a bigger loop, I guess you'd call it. So I want to make sure I got a really decent heat all the way up, or pretty well all the way up. I will admit this style is probably going to give me a little bit more hassle than the previous two, just to get the loop or the hook part to look decent as a almost eye hook, eye loop. I don't have as much practice in those, so they do take a little bit longer for me to work through. So I'm going to bring you over and up on the vise if I can. And I really hate that I love the windows, but I hate the windows for filming in this shop. So I think that should be okay. So I'm going to quench the tip first so I don't mangle it. And the camera's too close. So this is going to take a little bit more effort than I want. So I'm bringing it close up. Then I'm going to take my scrolling tongs and then start bending it back. And if there's any spot that is a little bit loose around the my jig, I'm just taking my scrolling tongs and kind of forcing it against the jig a little bit. So that's not too bad. I'm gonna go over to my anvil and just make sure everything's straightened out. But I think I'm gonna take my master one again. Where's the master? So I'm just gonna put the master on the anvil so I can judge it when I take it off. So I'm gonna just doing a little bit more, just a little bit more at the tip, closing that up a little bit more. And I think that's basically where I want it. So we'll flip that around into the forge. Hopefully it doesn't fall out. And we'll try and repeat that on the second one. So normally I'd be able to grab this a little better, but don't want to whack the camera all too much. It is a little too close, to be honest. Just gonna double check with the master. It looks good. So we'll just straighten that up a little bit. at the anvil. Double check one more time. Yeah, I think that looks good. She looks good. On to the next. Now, this is one of the ones where if I was finding these are actually selling really good, I would probably make a far superior jig for these guys. Or maybe not. I don't know. It all would depend on how many I think I could sell of these per show. And if I could actually sell these online as well. So again, quenching the tip so I don't mangle it. Bringing it around as much as I can. Resetting, finishing that little ring, clamping where I want to make the other bend. Oh, too much. And then bringing back as need be. I'll take it to the anvil to straighten it. Close it up ever so slightly, and yeah, that looks relatively good. And this is going to be the last one I have to bend, and then I can do the belt loop. We're going to call it the belt loop. Yeah, let's call it, or the belt hook. Do you want to call it the belt hook? I don't know. It's not really a loop, I guess. Clip? The belt clip? Clip might be the best word for it. I think I can straighten it out. So the very tip got a little bit away from me, cooled down too much or whatnot. But I think that will do. And I've flipped all these around. And I am gonna now take just a few seconds to double check which way I need my hook to face when I do, and it's the right side. So when I do my shoulder down and flatten out the belt clip, I want the opening of the hook facing to the right. Again, I'm taking about 3 inches here. I'm gonna start bending that over. Do a little kink on the end. Start closing it up. on this one, I think I'm actually going to just leave it how it is. And I think I'm going to call that done. Yeah, I'm thinking. So again, onto the open of the hook to the right. Flatten it down a little bit, flip it over, and start bending that down. Whoop. Almost forgot my little kink at the end. And we'll just start bringing that over. Bring it over to the vise. Just gotta make sure things are straight. This one didn't close up as much as I would like at the end. I think that looks good. I think that looks good. Yeah, that will do. Just gonna reclamp this in the vise. My vise doesn't hold these as nicely as I would like them to, but it works good enough. We'll grab the next one. Going to the right. Set down that shoulder. Flatten out the rest. Flip it over. Start bending the clip part over. Do a little kink at the end. And start closing that up. I think the little thing at the end, the little shootout, went a little bit too far in this one. So I'm just gonna put the screwdriver in so I don't completely collapse it. And then I think that one is finished as well. So hook to the right, about 3 inches, set the shoulder, flatten it out. Flip it over, start doing that 90-degree bend. Little kink at the end. Then start bringing it over and folding it, almost folding it on itself. Just using a flathead screwdriver just to pry it open ever so slightly. And then if I need to, come over to my angle iron, which I'm using as my spacer kind of thing. And we're just gonna make sure that spacing's okay. Yeah, that looks good. Whoa, I got a big pile of stuff that needs to be wire wheeled on the floor. I think this guy I'm going to leave how he is. I think he's pretty good how he is. Okay. Well, that's all the steel I cut for today. So that means that's end of the live stream today. End of the live stream. So yeah, I'll get these guys wired up, beeswax on them, make them all purty, and yeah, we will call it a day today, and we'll do get ready for the live stream tomorrow. I will be making a tool tomorrow that is related to blacksmithing, so I'll start that at 1:30 Eastern time, and yeah, until then, guys, have a good day. I'll see you tomorrow.